In truest honesty, my mind and body were in shock during the first term at ISB, and I have very sharp memories of my ISB experience. Hi, if you're new to my channel, my name is Shatakshi Sharma, and I discuss all things MBA and consulting on this channel. Feel free to subscribe so that whenever I'm putting out new content around MBA and consulting, you get notified, and whenever I'm having live sessions with my community, you get notified as well. So it's a very interesting question because I graduated from ISB somewhere around 2019, and it was a very interesting experience. It was very enriching experience. It was very fast paced experience. And I have, for your benefit, divided this entire video into certain categories. I would say largely four categories. So truth be told, the first term at ISB is very, very harsh. At least it was for me. And I remember before my heading onto the campus, I was on my notice period. I took 2 weeks off between ISB was starting and when my job was getting off. And I went to Goa. I chilled with my friends, and I landed on the campus, the beautiful campus. I moved to this quad, which was, I think I was in SV2. Few people who are watching this video may relate to what is SV2. It's a very beautiful room, very comfortable room. There are staff members who come and make your bed. Everything is typically taken care of. You get help in terms of housemaid who can take care of your cooking and meal prep as well. So very comfortable life, very convenient life. The first week is called O week, where you get to do a lot of warm up exercises. You get to break the ice. You get to meet a lot of interesting people through games. And the batch who had graduated just before you organizes the entire week, O week, and very interesting. And I still have very good memories around playing frisbee and whatnot. And in week one, the real life really hits you because you start with your lectures. You start with foundation classes around microeconomics and statistics and marketing and accounting. And truth be told, I think statistics is the hardest one across for people across the campus. And then the entire quizzes hit you. You give your first quiz and you realize, oh my, this shit is real, because it's relative grading, right? No matter, even if you're scoring 28 out of 30, and the entire classroom is scoring 29, then you're not bound to get an A grade, right? So coming from, because I had spent my undergrad at St. Stephen's College, which is relatively not as competitive, or there is no rat race of getting a job. I faced a lot of hardship in my first term, not in just of becoming comfortable with the new schedule, becoming comfortable with my new academic life and now my this studying routine, but also just really absorbing what kind of culture had I really surrounded myself in. Because everyone eventually in the first time, everyone wants to go to Mackenzie, BCG, Bain, and everyone is just running behind grades, and it just, at least for me, it was not the most fruitful or the conducive culture to learn and grow. So first term, like I said, my mind and body were just in shock. Remember, I said there are largely four sections in which I would want to share this video. So the first section is term 1 to term 3. In term 1 to term 3, you actually just focus on your academics. You learn the foundations, right? You make sure that you're submitting your quiz, assignments, test, group assignments and whatnot. You are mapped to a study group in the first term itself, and the first term study group you do not get to choose, versus ISB actually allocates those study group members to you. Term 2 onwards, I realized what kind of shit I was in, and I realized I do not want to play the race that everyone else is playing. That meant I was not partying. I think back then, as a 27-year-old, I was not really enjoying the party culture. I had done my fair share of it during my corporate life and back in St. Stephen's. That meant I was waking up really early, that is around 6:37 a.m. I was doing my yoga, heading on to my ATM class with my coffee in hand, already done with my breakfast, and just being very, very laser sharp focused. And I remember few of my friends and peers were just absolutely in shock because they were partying perhaps till 2 or 3 in the midnight. And it is very hard, right? If you're partying till 2 or 3 a.m. in the midnight and you wake up 6 a.m. every day. So I kind of chose my battles. I kind of chose what kind of life I wanted to live. And term 2 and term 3 were relatively very smooth for me. I was not as much in shock. I knew what kind of war or battle I really wanted to win. I was very sure I'm not going to become stressed because of grades, and hence I stopped actually engaging in a lot of grades discussion on campus. I was very sure I did not want to engage in I actually, and no judgments, but I did not find that to be very fruitful or very meaningful, and hence I ended up making friends on campus who wanted to wanted to solve for interesting things out of their MBA, like making meaningful friendship, talking about ideas, talking about philosophy, math and business at the same time, and that is the kind of bonds I eventually made. So that was the section 1. So term 1 to term 3, we are focusing on basics. Your grades are everything for people on campus, and eventually, because it is relative grading, you cannot be really laid back. You have to make sure that you are getting decent grades. The section 2, I would say, that is when my ISB journey started becoming more fulfilling and more interesting, which is when almost everyone on campus is preparing for case competitions. Everyone wants to win those case competitions. There are interesting parties happening, such as I remember Garba on campus. I also remember there is this ball dance that happens at ISB campus. I was very sure that I did not want to participate in 10 or 20 case competitions. I wanted to make sure I participate in few, and I make sure that I win those case competitions as well. And I remember I was national first in 2 out of the 3 case competitions that I participated. The third one was actually, we were runner-ups, if not national rank first. And in that process, I think I started, by this time ISB had grown over me. I started going out for walks. We were much more comfortable with the routine of every weekend there are tests, every weekend there are quizzes that are happening. So you get into that rhythm by that time. And almost by that time, my shortlist for McKinsey and BCG from campus had come. And I have always made sure that Indian business schools operate in a very different manner, and not IBS, but Indian business schools altogether. There's a campus culture, campus placement culture. I am not a huge fan of it, and hence I was very sure that I wanted to still apply for jobs outside, not just the firms that are coming on campus. And you may think that what kind of rationality, Shatakshi, you have the BCG and McKinsey shortlists. Why would you apply outside? There were still few firms, such as I remember Dalberg had not visited our campus in my year. And I remember being almost on the verge of getting my interview. Eventually, I dropped Dalberg because I had my offer by the time I was supposed to get my interview. So then it moves to the last section, which is the third section, getting the job on campus. So which was very interesting because I had my McKinsey BCG shortlist. So there are groups, case study groups that are formed for people who have McKinsey BCG shortlist. McKinsey BCG also actually allocates certain buddies to you so that you get help in terms of case preparation and the entire preparation for your interview as well. Everyone on campus is doing case interview, case interview, case interview. So if you would notice, there are themes on a business school campus where majority of the people are actually going through a theme, because that's how the life cycle is. First 3 terms, you focus on your academics. Next 3 terms, or next 2 months rather, you're focusing on case competition, now enjoying the campus life. The next 3 months, everyone is just making sure there is a return on investment, because it's a huge expensive degree. And I remember eventually I had McKinsey BCG offers. I picked up BCG for my own reason. In a nutshell, I was very sure I wanted to do more work in the intersection of private sector and public sector. And the year in which I got my offer, BCG was doing and still continues to actually lead public sector projects in India. And taking a full circle, this was actually the time where I was very sure, Naman and I, we are the co-founders of Global Governance Initiative now. And we were very sure that during my ISB journey, I wanted to do much more than just get a job or win case competitions. That meant the time finally had come for me to sow the seeds of the social impact venture that we have been dreaming since almost 2 years. And we did a lot of iteration. Naman actually flew down to campus as well, and we were doing some really rich, interesting discussions as well. And I remember eventually we landed on the idea of public policy, which now of course has been iterated a lot. We continue to help people in public policy consulting, building a career for policy roles, but of course largely we now provide a pre-MBA and an alt-MBA as well. But coming back, a lot of professors, a lot of peers were just so helpful for us to kickstart our venture. And especially I would give a lot of credit to ISB professors, whichsoever professor I reached out for guidance, all of them were just so kind and so nice. And one of the marketing professor, he's one of the award-winning professor at ISB, I still remember, gave me that one insight that was really very pivotal for us to start. So that was the end of my third section, which is getting a job and kickstarting GGI. My fourth section was a cherry on the cake in terms of my ISB experience. Why? Because I was very sure when I landed on the ISB campus, I wanted to do actually a foreign exchange semester. I wanted to really experience how study abroad really looks like. And because this was almost my final formal academic degree, I did not want to do overspend on just taking another degree to go outside, right? Hence, I landed in Boston to study at Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy and Harvard Business School. So my experience at Boston was just really amazing. Overall, I would not talk about it because I know that you clicked on this video to know about my ISB experience, but shall you be interested to know about my Harvard Business School and Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy experience? Put in the comment if there is a proof of concept. I will definitely make a separate video on what was my experience sitting in HBS classrooms, how competitive are the classrooms, what is the difference between ISB and HBS. I actually took classes at Harvard Kennedy as well. What is eventually the difference between ISB, HBS and Kennedy. So that's it. I hope you like this video. Feel free to subscribe so that you get notified every time I'm actually putting out a video.